Welcome to the KinderPage podcast from Toronto. Today is May 26th, 2025, and we're diving deep into nature-based curriculum in childcare. Now, just a quick note, this deep dive is based on our review of research and practical guidance. We always encourage you, our listeners, to verify details and think about how they apply in your own specific situations. So let's get into it. Think about those moments. Kids splashing in puddles, totally fascinated by a beetle, maybe trying to build something out of snow that keeps collapsing.
Right. It looks like just playing, but it's actually fundamental learning happening right there.
Exactly. And that's what we're unpacking today, why bringing the environment right into early education is, well, so powerful, how it works, and what it looks like here in Canada.
It's really fascinating because it's not just, extra outdoor time. It's a whole philosophy, a pedagogical shift. Nature becomes a kind of co-teacher.
A co-teacher, I like that. So, yeah, get ready. We might uncover some things that make you look at the humble mud puddle a bit differently. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. When we say nature-based curriculum, what are we actually talking about? It's not just taking the blocks outside, is it?
No, definitely not. The core idea is using the natural world itself as both the setting and the source of learning. So it means regular, consistent time for kids in natural outdoor spaces, parks, woods, even just a well-designed yard. And the learning is play-based. It's hands-on.
And it integrates the usual curriculum stuff, math, literacy, science, but naturally through what the kids are exploring.
Precisely. It flows from their experiences.
And there's this underlying philosophy, right, for how we see kids.
This is huge. It really views the child as inherently capable, like really curious, full of potential from the get-go.
So it kind of flips the script, less about adults telling kids what to learn.
And more about prioritizing their own discoveries. Child-directed play, following their interests as they emerge, asking their own questions. It's inquiry-based.
That feels like a really fundamental shift. It's about trust, isn't it? Trusting kids to learn when you give them the space and support.
Absolutely. And nature is just, well, it's the ultimate rich environment for sparking that natural drive to figure things out.
Something that really stood out was this emphasis on repeated access to the same place. Why is going back to the same park or forest again and again so important?
That consistency is key for building deep relationships, not just with people, but with the land itself. Kids start noticing tiny details, the small changes from day to day, week to week, season to season. They see how things grow, how animals live there. It builds a real sense of belonging, of connection to that specific place.
And that connects something vital, especially here in Canada, acknowledging Indigenous perspectives, right?
Yes, hugely important. Recognizing that Indigenous peoples have this incredibly deep, long-standing relationship with the land, learning from it, with it based on observation and reciprocity. It pushes us to see land not just as a resource or a backdrop,
But as a teacher, relationship.
Exactly. It reframes the whole relationship, which, makes us think, how do we foster that kind of respect and reciprocity in our programs? It's a big question.
Okay, so we get the philosophy, the connection piece, but let's talk about the results. Why is this gaining traction? What are the proven benefits for kids? The so what?
Well, the research is really piling up, showing benefits across the board. First off, cognitive growth. We see kids becoming more creative, their imaginative play gets way more complex. Think about it, natural stuff is open-ended. A stick isn't just a stick, right?
Right, it can be a million things, unlike a plastic toy that does one thing.
Exactly. And there's also evidence for better attention, focus, concentration. Being in nature seems to have this restorative effect, helping kids sort of reset and focus better.
That makes intuitive sense. It's calmer, maybe. Fewer artificial distractions.
Yeah, something like that. Then there's social-emotional flourishing. Huge gains here. Kids outdoors have to cooperate, communicate, figure out problems together in really authentic situations. Plus, just being in green spaces is linked to lower stress, better emotional regulation.
You mentioned lower cortisol levels, like physically measurable stress reduction.
Yeah, studies have actually measured that, lower cortisol. It's pretty powerful stuff for overall mental well-being.
Wow. Okay. And physically, obviously they move more.
Oh, absolutely. Physical health is a massive benefit. Kids are just way more active outdoors naturally. Less sitting. They're running, climbing, balancing on uneven ground, which is great for coordination, balance, cardiovascular health, managing healthy weight. It ticks all those boxes for active play.
It's not just any movement. It's that very challenging movement that nature kind of invites.
Right. And lastly, but definitely not least, is fostering environmental stewardship. Those positive hands-on experiences early on, they strongly predict
Right.
whether someone grows up to care about the environment. Kids who connect with nature become adults who want to protect it. It builds that ethic of care.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, it really covers everything: mind, body, emotions, even their future role as citizens. It's incredibly holistic. So if you're an educator listening, thinking, okay, I'm inspired, how do you actually do this? What are the non-negotiables, the core parts?
Several things really stand out. Number one is prioritizing exploration time. And we mean substantial time outdoors, daily. It's not just recess,
Yeah.
it's core learning time, unstructured child-led time.
Daily. Okay, which brings us Canadian Street to the weather, embracing Canada's four seasons.
Yep, you got it. That's a defining feature, committing to being outdoors year-round, unless it's genuinely hazardous, of course.
So preparation is everything. Layers, layers, layers.
Totally. Good waterproof gear, warm hats, mitts, boots, adapting activities, having some shelter maybe, and, crucially, having a positive attitude. Snow isn't a problem. It's amazing play material. Puddles are science.
Right. No bad weather, only bad clothes. You need the gear and the right mindset.
Exactly. Another key piece is natural and loose parts. These are your main resources. Sticks, stones, leaves, pine cones, mud, snow, ice, water. Things kids can move, combine, build with, take apart. They fuel way more creativity and problem solving than most manufactured toys.
The environment itself is the best toy box.
Pretty much. And that connects to a really important shift in thinking. Risk-benefit assessment. Instead of trying to bubble wrap kids and eliminate all risk.
Which is impossible anyway.
Right. The focus shifts to looking at the benefits of an activity, like climbing a low tree, builds confidence, coordination, risk assessment skills, alongside the potential manageable risks. It's about making things as safe as necessary, not as safe as possible. It allows for that healthy, risky play.
So trusting kids more, helping them learn their limits.
Yes, supporting them and figuring things out. And finally, the evolving role of the educator. This is maybe the biggest shift for practitioners. You move from being the teacher who directs everything to being more of a facilitator, a co-explorer, a guide. You observe really closely, listen deeply to their ideas.
A pedagogy of listening, I think I read.
That's the term, yeah. Asking good, open-ended questions to stretch their thinking, documenting what they're discovering, and just modeling curiosity and respect for nature yourself.
So the educator becomes the guide, nature is the teacher, and the child is the active explorer. Okay, with that shift, how do you actually set up the space? It's not just any old backyard, right? There's intentional design involved.
You're right, there's definitely thought behind it. For outdoor spaces, you want things like varied terrain, little hills, logs, maybe some boulders, different plants, trees, shrubs, grasses for texture and habitat. Mud kitchens or sand areas with water access are gold. Easy access storage for those loose parts we talked about. Places to gather, maybe log seats or an outdoor easel. And, super important, making sure it's accessible for kids of all abilities.
And planning for our wonderful Canadian climate.
Oh, absolutely. Shelters are key for rain, snow, even intense sun. Trees for natural shade are fantastic. Windbreaks can make a big difference on windy days. And yeah, you plan for snow and ice safety, but you also see snow as this incredible free play resource.
And you can bring bits of nature inside too, can't you? It's not strictly outdoors only.
Definitely not. You can boost the indoor space with lots of natural light, using natural materials, setting up nature tables for displaying interesting finds, showing nature-inspired art. Even in tight urban spots, you can add planter boxes, bring in logs for seating, create a small mud play area.
Does this look the same everywhere, or are there different models people use?
Good question. There's flexibility. We see forest and nature schools, often called FNS. They usually have regular sessions, maybe daily, in the same natural spot like woods or a ravine, really focused on child-led emergent learning. Then there are nature preschools, where kids might spend most, if not all, of their day outdoors, and outdoor classrooms, which are basically dedicated outdoor learning spaces connected to a center used throughout the day.
It's cool to hear about Canadian examples doing this, adapting it locally. Places like Kingston Forest and Nature School here in Ontario, or Fort White Alive out in Manitoba, shows it's really taking root.
Yeah, it really is. And for folks working in Ontario, the great news is this approach fits really well with our provincial framework. How does learning happen? It naturally hits all those foundations: belonging, well-being, engagement, expression.
And what about the regulations? The Childcare and Early Years Act, the CCEYA, can you actually do this within the rules?
Yes, absolutely. It just takes thoughtful planning and good documentation. The rules on minimum outdoor space per child, the minimum 2 hours of outdoor play for full-day programs, those are often easily met or exceeded. The key is being really clear in your program statement about why you're doing things this way, the educational reasons for lots of outdoor time, using loose parts, the risk-benefit approach. You show how it meets the safety and developmental goals.
So it's not about bending rules, it's about demonstrating how this philosophy leads to high quality, compliant, and really beneficial programming,
Exactly.
which leads to the learning part. How does the curriculum actually unfold? Are they just playing, or is there more structured learning happening?
The magic is that nature provides the structure, and the learning integrates really naturally. Literacy pops up everywhere kids might keep nature journals, tell stories about what they saw, use rich, descriptive words. Math is constant counting rocks, sorting leaves by shape, estimating how many steps to the big tree, measuring puddle depth. Science is just everywhere, observing weather, bugs, plant growth, experimenting with mud and water.
And art, using natural materials, must be amazing.
Oh yeah, building sculptures from found objects, painting with mud, weaving grasses. It's incredibly creative.
And just think about those classic Canadian seasonal things, the joy of puddle jumping in spring,
Yeah.
epic snow forts in winter, collecting armloads of colorful leaves in fall.
Totally. The environment offers endless invitations, and the kids' curiosity drives the exploration. Now, documenting all this dynamic learning is really important. It's not just checklists. It's things like taking detailed observation notes, using photos or short videos to capture kids deep in play, collecting samples of things they find interesting, writing learning stories that describe a significant learning moment.
And involving the kids themselves in documenting.
Yeah, that's powerful too. Maybe they draw what they saw or dictate a story about their discovery. It's about capturing the process, the questions, the theories, the problem solving, not just the end product.
It really shows the depth of learning that happens when kids lead the way outdoors. So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to learn more, maybe get some training, where can they turn?
There's a growing network, especially here in Canada. Nationally, groups like the Child and Nature Alliance of Canada and Outdoor Play Canada are fantastic resources. Take Me Outside is another great one. Here in Ontario, the College of Early Childhood Educators has relevant practice guidelines, and organizations like the ECCDC often run specialized workshops.
And actual training programs.
Yep, they're popping up more and more. Specific certifications for forest and nature school practitioners, college programs incorporating nature pedagogy, workshops on risk assessment, seasonal adaptations, documenting outdoor learning. There's definitely support out there.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it really feels like the evidence is just overwhelmingly positive, doesn't it? Across the board benefits.
It really is. Cognitive, physical, social, emotional health. Plus that crucial connection to the environment. It's truly holistic.
And it's doable. Even within regulations like Ontario CCEYA, with careful planning, it's entirely feasible and aligns well with quality indicators like HDLH.
It really moves beyond just child development. It's about fostering belonging, nurturing that sense of stewardship, and equipping kids with skills like resilience and problem solving they'll need, well, forever.
So the final thought for you, our listeners, thinking about this power of connection between kids and nature, even in simple ways. What potential does this hold? Not just for the children in our care today, but for our communities, our shared future. We really hope this deep dive into nature-based childcare has sparked some ideas and maybe inspired you to explore that connection a bit further. Thanks for joining us on the KinderPage podcast.